Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Jag, and in today's class what we're going to cover is actually Biology 11, and the content I want to look at is within the genetics unit, and this is on Punnett Squares. Alright, so if Biology 11 is something you are interested in taking, I do highly recommend it. Genetics basically explains about the various traits that are being passed on from your parents to yourself, and then you passing on these traits to your children as well. Okay, so let's get started. So first off, what a Punnett square is basically it's a way for you to calculate the probability that a specific trait will be inherited. Okay, and it's actually a very simple method as well. There's just some terms that I want us to go through first. Okay, so first off, the term is, let's use like 2. So if I use 2 capital R's like this, okay, this term is known as homozygous dominant. Okay, and that basically means I have 2 of the same traits here. Okay, each letter by itself is called an allele. Okay, now say I have a big R and a small r. The term for this is heterozygous. Okay, and that's what heterozygous means. Okay, I have basically one big allele and I have one small allele. Okay, this big allele is actually known to be dominant. Okay, so if the disease itself is dominant, if I have one of these big letters, that means I actually have the disease right away. All right, and if you have 2 small r's like this is going to be homozygous recessive. Okay, now again, as you're going through the genetics unit, you'll notice that there are a lot of genetic diseases that are recessive. Okay, in order for me to have the recessive disease, I have to have 2 of these small alleles. Okay, and I actually have to be getting each of these small alleles from each of my parents. Okay, so sometimes you'll notice that these conditions are not as common in terms of like the recessive diseases. Okay, because the probability of you getting one of these small alleles from each of your parents is not very high. All right. Okay, so with that, let's get started here with our Punnett squares. All right. So I'm gonna just take this off. Okay, and again, what we're going to do is I'm going to read out the question. Okay, and then I'm going to show you how to draw out the Punnett square. So let's try this question here. Okay, so there's again, because Gregor Mendel was the one who actually came up with the Punnett squares. He did a lot of experiments on pea plants. Okay, there are many different characteristics of the peas, not just like the pod color. It can also be like the shape of the peas. Was it round or wrinkled? And again, you will be going through all of that before you start the Punnett squares. Okay, so let me read this question out loud. So tall pea plants are governed by the allele capital T. So let's write that down here. So the tall T means that, or the big T means it's a tall plant. Okay, let's put P. That's tall pea plant. Okay, and basically the short pea plants are governed by the allele of lowercase t. So I'm going to put short pea plants. Okay. And what I want everyone to notice here is that we're not going to use different letters. Okay, so if I'm using the capital T to show a tall pea plant, I have to use the lowercase t to show the short T plant. Okay, so now it says, suppose a heterozygous tall pea plant is crossed with a short pea plant. Okay, how you're going to do this is I'm going to draw out this board. Is kind of like a tic-tac-toe board. Okay, because everyone has played tic-tac-toe before. Okay, so I have a heterozygous tall pea plant. So capital T, small t. Okay, just like we went through, the heterozygous means I have one capital allele and I have one lowercase allele. Okay, so this heterozygous tall pea plant was crossed with a short pea plant. The only way my pea plant can be short is if I have 2 lowercase t's. Okay, does everyone see how to do that? And these are basically representing the parent pea plants. And what you're going to do now is I'm going to fill out my tic-tac-toe board. So I want everyone to look very closely. I'm just going to bring these alleles down. Okay, do you see that? So in this first box, capital T, small t. Okay? Say I'm doing this one right here on the bottom. I'm bringing down the 2 parents, and it's going to be capital T and small t. Okay, and after you get the hang of it, it's actually a lot of fun to fill out the Punnett squares. Okay, let's do this one right here. I'm bringing these two down, small t, okay? And in the last box, one more time here, I'm bringing down these parents, and I have small t and small t. So this is how you actually fill out the Punnett squares when you're doing the crosses. Again, you can see it's very simple. And what I want to always write out, okay, is the genotype. So I'm going to write it on the side here. Okay, what the genotype means is basically the genes of the offspring. Okay, so what you see in the 4 boxes here kind of represents the kids of the parent pea plants. Okay, whenever you're doing the genotype, it's I'm looking at the genes here. Write it as a fraction. Okay, so you see how there are 4 boxes here. All the 4 boxes are going to add up to 100%. Okay. And I noticed there's 2 boxes here that have the same genes. I have capital T, small t. So when we write it here, we're going to write 2 over 4, capital T, small t, and I'm going to make 2 dots, okay? And then I notice in these last 2 boxes as well, I have the same genes. I have lowercase t. So again, it's going to be 2 out of 4 of the lowercase t's like this. And this is the genotype here, okay? And I'm always writing it as a fraction. You'll notice in the textbook, if they give you a question where they're asking for the probability, that is basically just the percentage, okay? And the second thing you want to write out is basically the phenotype. Okay, and what the phenotype means is the actual appearance, okay? How do the offspring of these parent pea plants actually look, okay? And I notice if I have a capital T and a lowercase t, the tall t or the big T is actually dominant here, okay? So I'm going to put 2 over 4 are tall pea plants, okay? And the last 2 is basically 2 lowercase t's. And the only way, again, that you can have a short pea plant is with the 2 lowercase t's. So I'm going to put 2 over 4 short pea plants, okay? And this is what you always have to be identifying. I have to identify the genotype and the phenotype whenever I do my Punnett squares, okay? And that's what the teacher is looking for, all right? Now say the question said, what percentage of the offspring are going to be tall pea plants, okay? So I notice my tall pea plants is 2 over 4. So my answer here would just be 50% are tall pea plants. Okay, does everyone see that? And what about the question saying, what is the percentage of the offspring being short pea plants? Again, I have 2 over 4, which is 50%. Okay, of the pea plants are going to be short. Okay, so I can see there can be different types of variations of this question. Make sure you are reading the question very carefully. All right, so with that, let's try another example here. So I'm just going to take this off. Okay, and again, looks like another experiment on the pea plants, but this time we're looking at a different characteristic, okay? This looks like we're looking at the actual shape of the peas. So let me read out the question. So in pea plants, the round peas are dominant over the wrinkled peas, okay? So whenever it is dominant, I'm going to put capital R. This is going to be the round peas. And then the lowercase r is going to be the wrinkled peas. All right, and I always tell students to make sure that they do define, okay, the letters that they're using. It doesn't matter actually what letter you want to use, okay? Always use the letter that's associated with the traits that they're giving you, all right? Okay, so it says use a Punnett square to predict the phenotype and the genotype of the outcome of a cross between a plant that is homozygous for round peas. So let's make our tic-tac-toe board here. Homozygous for round peas. So again, remember the word homozygous means that you have 2 of the same letter. Okay, so I have 2 capital R's here. And I'm crossing this with a plant that has that's homozygous for wrinkled peas. And the only way I can have wrinkled peas is if I have 2 small r's like this, okay? Does everyone see that? So I have to make sure that I have the proper formula for the parent pea plants. Okay, if you don't, then whatever you get for the offspring is going to be wrong. Okay, so one more time, this was homozygous for round peas, so I can see it's dominant, and we are crossing it with a plant that is homozygous for wrinkled peas. Okay, so again, let's fill out our Punnett square here. So we're just going to bring these two down. So I have capital R, small r. Okay, and then go to the next box here. Again, bring it down. So capital R, small r. All right, let's go to the next two boxes here. I'm going to do this one, capital R, small r. And this last one as well, bring it down, capital R, small r. Okay, whenever you're writing the genotype of the offspring, make sure you're putting the capital letters first and then put the lowercase letters. Okay, so that looks good. I can see like my Punnett square here, and I can see that the offspring are basically all the same, and this is in the first generation. To indicate the first generation, the teacher is going to put F1. I can also take what Mendel did too, was basically he took two pea plants from the first generation and crossed them together. This would be the F2 generation or the filial 2 generation. Okay, but for now we're just going to keep it simple. All right, let's write out the genotype. Again, the genotype is going to be the genes here, and I can see in all four boxes I have capital R, small r. So we're just going to write 4 out of 4, capital R, small r. Everyone see that? Okay, and the second thing we need to write is the phenotype. Okay, and the question will directly ask you, okay, for the genotype and the phenotype of the offspring. Okay, so this is also going to be 4 out of 4. And you notice because I have one capital R here, okay, this is basically defining what the round peas are, okay? And because the round peas are dominant, in this case, I have 4 out of 4, okay, of the round peas. Okay, so just like this. Does everyone see how to do that? So I can see doing the actual Punnett square is very simple, okay? When you're doing a Punnett square like this, it looks like we're just looking at one trait here. Okay, so in this example, we're looking at the actual shape of the peas, whereas in the example before, we were looking at whether the pea plants are tall or short. Okay, the pea plants have many different characteristics. Mendel looked at almost 7 different characteristics. Okay, and he did find something very specific in terms of the ratio, and we can look at that next time. And the ratio was constant. He found a 3-to-1 ratio, which was constant over time as he kept on breeding these different pea plants together. All right, so that looks good. If there are no questions, that does bring this video to an end. And thank you for watching. Please make sure you do like, share, and subscribe to the channel, and I will see everyone next time. Thanks. Bye.